What's up, man?
How are you? Thanks for having me,
Yeah,
man.
you got it. So I just wanted to get into some stuff. Let's talk about. I want to know what made you change. Like, what made you put drugs down?
The gift of desperation. Oh, yeah. I have to say, man, I went through a lot of years of denial first. There was a lot of years of I had my little bubble. Don't go near me, I'm fine. Just leave me the F alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we get caught up in that bubble for so long. And then things started changing. People stopped calling me back. My family had to start pushing me away. My girlfriends were blocking me. And that wasn't enough. And then the DEA was watching me. The police were watching me. My job had one foot out the door. And that wasn't enough. But what did it for me was on July 8th of 2018, the day before I surrendered, my now sponsor came up to me and he looked me right in the face. He goes, "Chris, how are you?" I was like, "Oh, I'm doing good. I'm smoking a little less crack now and everything." You know? And then he asked me those three freaking words, man. Oh. He looked at me right in the eyes and he said, "Are you happy? Are you happy?" And that was it. Like, my whole 20-year facade of crack and heroin was up. I just broke down in tears. I was so unhappy. I was just so sad all day. But we try to project that we're okay. We're fine. But when that happened, reality hit me like a brick wall. And I was forced to say, I feel like crap. Like everything came crumbling down. And then it was right after that night, you know, I tried to take my own life. But we're still here, and then July 9th.
Well, how did you tell me a little bit about that? I've heard little snippets of that.
Snippets.
How does that come about?
Yeah. So when my now sponsor asked me those words, "Are you happy?" Like reality kicked in, and I realized how unhappy I was, and I realized that I had no food, no money. My truck was falling apart. The IRS was about to confiscate my paychecks. DEA was asking me all this stuff. So there's no way in my mind I was gonna get out of this hole I dug. I dug this hole way too deep. That's for other people that get clean. There's no way I can do this. So yeah, I drove to the Route 84 bridge on the Newtown Southbury line in Connecticut, and I stood on the side of the bridge and I tied a cinder block to each ankle.
Oh,
and I didn't want to die, but I was done living. Like, I had nothing left to live for at that point. And I just felt just hopeless, you know? And then I took my last hit of crack on the bridge and I could hear horns honking behind me. And I took my last swig of booze and I just put my arms out and started moving forward. And two arms grabbed me in the waist and threw me backward down the 84. It was an off-duty state trooper.
Wow.
I didn't hear him approach me. I didn't have my implant at the time. So I think in medical terms, I was just hysterical on the side. I was just crying. I felt so worthless, like I can't even kill myself, you know? What good am I? But because of that gift of desperation, they talk about your rock bottom had a basement, and mine had a trap door. And then I kept digging, you know?
Yeah, it's not rock bottom until you're done.
Not until we're done, exactly. And that night, I was done.
And what does that look like? You say you're done. Right? But now, what's the next step? Because, like, for me, there were so many times I thought I was done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We
like,
wanted to stop, but we didn't.
I'm done, but I'm not willing to do anything different. Like, I'm just going to do the same shit I always did, but I'm just not going to get high.
I verbally surrendered 300 or 400 times.
Yeah.
But one time in my life, I completely surrendered. And I think what happened was, when you asked me, what's next? My opinion was, we're not done yet. Like, all of us watching this or listening in, we're all still alive. And how many friends and loved ones have we lost over the years through alcoholism addiction? I lost my father 2 months and a week ago today to alcohol.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And his father drank himself to death. His father drank himself to death. But we get to cut the cord. Like, wherever we come from, we can cut that cord.
And I thought about that even in terms of, like, my father passed away, and we've talked about this. Here he is, he's got a brain tumor, fighting for his life, right? And tries everything to stay alive. Every procedure, everything he can. And there's no win, right? He dies. Well, here I am. I have a disease of addiction.
Mm-hmm.
It can be arrested, right? It can be arrested if I do something about it, and I'm trying to kill myself.
That's amazing if you look at it in that perspective.
Yeah.
Because some people on the outside are unfamiliar with addiction just say, just stop.
Yeah.
I love those words. Why don't you just stop? It's like, wow, why did I think of that? But I think when we get to a point where we're feel boxed in, and the only way to get through it is just get that next fix so we don't have to deal with it. But that's where true surrender comes from,
Well, and it took for me, like, it gets to a point where I had to lose everything, right? Being an athlete and being competitive and that always don't give up mentality. There's always got to be a way. Like, people told me my whole life that I wasn't going to be successful at anything. Mm-hmm. You're not good enough to play in college. You'll never be good enough to play pro sports. So I took that, and when I used that attitude towards addiction, I lost a lot more because there was no cheat code. There is no way to use successfully.
Right.
So for 20 years, I searched for this thing that doesn't exist.
And that becomes our new magnificent obsession.
Yeah. And all the yets happen. I'll never be homeless. I'll never go to prison. I'll never be without a car. I'll never have to steal.
That's other people.
That's other people.
That's not going to happen, not us. And that's what keeps a lot of people out, in my opinion. I was so lucky to help facilitate someone into rehab just yesterday through an intervention with the family. And we may not be certified for this, but we do have our clean time. Mm-hmm. We know what it's like to sit in that spot where everybody's pointing fingers at us,
And at this church, at this point, if you've done enough work, you know what the family feels like.
Yes.
And I remember being on both sides where I think I was maybe 35 years old, and I'm calling my mom, and I can't understand why she can't let me come home, right? Home.
Yep.
I'm 35 years old. That's not my house anymore.
Yeah.
She may give me a room to stay in or a couch, but I thought that was my home.
And you know what? In hindsight, she's the worst mom in the world. How could a parent do this to us?
Yeah.
I'm your son. But now we understand that parents have to draw their boundaries.
Well, we talk about the biggest thing that can kill an addict is unconditional love.
Mm.
And
there's a fine line between helping someone and enabling.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, myself included, especially in the beginning, my parents cut me off. They loved me so much that they had to disconnect from me. That's how much they loved me. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't feel like that before we surrender.
No, it feels like nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Nobody
cares. I'm the only one going through this. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows.
And when we're doing it, it only affects us.
Right.
Right. I'm getting high. It's only affecting my life, but we don't see, whether it's the parents, the girlfriend, the wife, the kids who are at home suffering while we're out.
Just as much, if not more.
Yeah. While we're trying to get our fix.
It's unbelievable the stuff. Not even stuff. Everything that we put aside to get our next fix. Yeah. And that's why it's so important for someone who's new to. I couldn't believe that somebody can have their urges lifted. That was just insane talk to me. Because I needed crack. You guys don't understand. I need this stuff. But over time, you start hanging out with people that have done it. I want what they got, so I'm just going to do what they do.
Well, and it's you find this, if we want to talk about the recovery process, it's you find this way to be okay with yourself. Yeah. I don't need anything outside anymore because I feel good about me.
Right.
And, how does that start? And when when my sponsor came into play, and I remember calling him from rehab and being like, I did it again. I feel like such a piece of shit. And he said, good, you should.
Yeah.
You should.
Let it out.
But you never have to feel this way again.
Never again. That's absolutely true.
But you have to have a basis to start. You know, like you can't justify your actions. Things can't be okay. Like what we do in active addiction is not okay. We hurt people. We hurt especially the ones I love. Like I went into rehab the other day and I was talking and I said, oh, this kid was talking about his kids are the most important thing in his life.
Yeah.
Are they? Because sometime before you came here, you put a bag or a drink before your kid. And you would have sold your kid for a bag or a drink.
Absolutely.
So, like, what is it? No, right now, it's not. It should be.
Yep.
It should be in the long run, but that's some of the stuff that I had to look at and really, was my dad being sick that important? Was my mom that important in my life? Was my family?
And that's important to recognize that now, especially, even with my sponsee, when I work with him, I'm like, hey, Dree, how are you today? He goes, I'm good. Let's try that again. How are you today? Oh, today work sucked. And there you go. Now we can grow.
Because the conditioned response is...
Our disease is telling us, I'm fine. Don't go to the meeting. You're fine. That's what the disease tells us.
Or what can I say to get somebody to leave me the fuck alone?
Yes. And that we were professionals at that for a long time. And that facade takes up so much because they say recovery is an inside job.
Yeah.
And that's why I came into recovery, because I wanted to stop smoking crack and doing dope and drinking myself to blackout every day. But there's way much more to it.
Well, it talks about the promises when they would tell me the promise is freedom, right? Like what? Like what's that? Like just freedom? I have freedom now. Like I have freedom. I thought I had freedom now.
I have freedom now.
I can go do whatever I want, but when I woke up in the morning, I didn't realize the only thing on my mind was how to get more, right?
Yeah.
Was my dealer getting a haircut? Was he out with his family? Was he going to be able to meet me?
The only freedom we had is that text from my dealer that said, yo, I'm good.
Good.
That was the only... Every minute before that and every minute after that is hell on earth. But in my mind, yo, I'm good. Come over. Like, everything's gone. All my problems are gone. The world is wonderful. But then we start to realize that we are addicted to the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Going to the sketchy-ass neighborhood, dealing with sketchy-ass people, evading the police. And next thing you know, I'm on the highway prepping my stuff. Yeah, I made it out. This ain't going to be enough for tomorrow. Yeah. And it just goes right back in the cycle again.
And now those same places, now, even 2 years later, I'm uncomfortable in those places.
Wow.
So, like, I'm in downtown Hartford, or I'm in downtown Waterbury.
And you see it. We can see things going on that other people don't.
I don't feel comfortable there anymore. Whereas, like, I liked being there before. It was...
You see someone walk up to someone's car window, what's our first thought? They're not there to chat. And maybe they are. Maybe I'm unjustifiably judging them. But we know these things because we had to deal with it. Seedy-ass motels now. When I see them, I don't think, maybe the trucker's tired. He needs to go somewhere to sleep. No! I know exactly what's going on in most of those rooms.
Yeah. Yeah, what's that? The Apple Motel in Waterbury?
Yeah. Stratford Motor Inn.
Yeah.
Pulling bodies out of there all the time. And you know what? I think it's amazing when we start peeling the onion back. And we start really digging deep what's going on inside here. And it's okay. I think we can have fun with it and laugh at it too. Because we're still human.
Yeah.
But now we can laugh. I mean, we're not dope nodding. We're laughing out from the belly up.
Yeah.
And I remember it took me like a good 3 or 4 months for the obsession to start stopping. My urges haven't lifted, but the obsession started trilling out 3, 4 months in.
Well, you talk about it in terms of a lot of different parts of life, right? Like,
yeah.
The obsession is in my head. Like, I can obsess about anything.
Anything.
But if I don't do it, I don't start the compulsion.
Right.
Right? Because the compulsion is just doing it over and over again. And that happens with anything, right? Like I work out too much or I want to eat junk food too much. And
oh, yeah.
Now there's the compulsion. I can feel it fueling now.
An old timer in the meeting once told me, being in recovery is like walking up a down escalator. We have to fight to keep our position.
Yeah.
If we start slacking, stop showing up around, and then boom, we're smacked. I am tired of being brought back to the bottom again. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like this path right now.
And to be aware is and you have people in your life that help when we have blind spots, right? So I can't do this by myself. I used to think all the time, like, why can't I just do this myself? And now, why would I ever want to do it myself?
And you know what? Exactly, I agree with that. And it's also in terms of when I get to speak at high schools and colleges, rehabbed all over wherever the hell I go, I let everybody know, my name's Chris and I get high. We stay clean.
Yes.
I cannot possibly recover on my own, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I need this. I need you guys watching. I need this, the accountability. I can't come here and talk to you and let everything out and then just go hide off and get high somewhere.
Well, because my thoughts in here, the best thoughts I have in here, aren't usually good ones by myself.
And you know what? It's so cool to recognize that they're just thoughts now. They're ideas. They're not facts. Some of these things that we get in our head are disease puts in there, but we can get rid of them. They pass.
Well, and you know, in terms of, we've talked about this too, is like insecurity doesn't go away. You know, the thoughts that I'm not good enough, that I'm not in good enough shape, I'm ugly, nobody likes me.
And now we have a way to channel it.
Yeah.
I can go to a meeting, I can go anywhere and hang out with someone in recovery and be like, I feel like using today. If we tell that to a family, they're not going to sleep for a month. But if I tell you, hey, I'm having a bad day, I might want to pick up. All right, let's go get a coffee.
Yeah,
like, we know.
I'm glad you told me. That's it.
Yes.
But you didn't do it.
But we didn't do it.
Because if you're not talking about it and you're feeling like shit, that's when it gets
sick. And my sponsor reminds me all the time that we're going to relapse before we ever pick up a drink of drug.
And what does that look like? You tell me. What's that look like?
Freaking laundry starts piling up. You let your dishes pile up. You start driving around with an empty tank of gas. You start neglecting other aspects of life. And next thing you know, maybe I can have a drink. You know what I mean? Like the cycle starts showing.
Just one.
In other aspects, just one. I'm just going to have one and then I'm going to stop Monday.
Yeah.
If not next Monday, the Monday after. But one of these Mondays, I'm going to stop. And we get that in the cycle. But we can get out of that vicious cycle now.
And like, I was the victim too for so long, right? Like, it's poor me. Everything's done for me. And I find that, writing a gratitude list, writing things I'm grateful. Do you do that too? Is that something that
I speak about it at night.
Okay.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, sometimes I ask my sponsee to do it too, and I read his answers. I'm like, wow, yeah, that makes sense. It's like a system, But I have so much to be. I mean, my first 4 years in recovery, I was completely deaf. And I would go to recovery meetings, and I didn't know what was going on. And then face mask came around. Woo! That was a lot of fun. I was reading freaking eyebrows and cheekbones for a good year and a half, but I didn't pick up.
So you couldn't.
I had no idea what
was going on.
And nobody could meet up in person because people were afraid. But I didn't pick up. You know what I mean? And then I was able to get the cochlear implant turned on here. And now I hear everything. Doorknobs, toilets flushing. Like, I didn't know that they ever made a sound, So I'm grateful. All the rough patches we have are so fruitful to our recovery. Because if every day was good, we wouldn't know what a great day is.
Yeah.
So I don't want some shitty days in there, but sometimes I feel I need them to step up my game.
Well, it's like, how do you know what you have until you haven't had it? You know what I mean?
That's true.
And some people are able to be grateful just without tragedy or without loss or without having to go through a lot in life, and that's a gift.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't have that.
I didn't have that either.
I needed to be humble. I couldn't humble myself. Life decided to humble me.
And it's now that we think about it as time going on in recovery, how many times I told everybody, like, I'm clean. I'm clean this time. You gotta believe me. Look at me. But finally, when we get to a point where we surrender, we start working this stuff, we don't have to tell nobody nothing.
No.
We get to show them. And most importantly, show ourselves that we're worth this fucking chance. Everybody's worth another chance. Everybody.
And I look at it too in terms of, like, I have two sides of family, right? I have my mom and my family who saw me in active addiction, and now I have my wife and my in-laws who've never seen me in active addiction, right? And like the gift of that, and you see the harm you've caused on one side.
Yeah.
Right? And how that doesn't go away. You know, like it gets better, but it doesn't go away. And you see what it's like.
The potential.
When you live the right way and show up. And like you said, you just show up and you give your word and you always keep your word and no one has to worry. You know, and the difference in those two things is
the
astronomical.
worrying has got to be amazing for our family members. Parents too, but also sisters, brothers, cousins. They were just worried sick about us. And the person I was so grateful to be able to help yesterday, I was just there. Mm-hmm. I set some recommendations. We're not qualified. But when I saw the shape she was in when I got to the house, they all warned me, Chris, we're just letting you know she's really bad. I walked downstairs, I'm like, yeah, that's me. That's me.
That's normal.
That's normal.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I see this every week in the rooms. Mm-hmm. It's okay, I'm here. And the first thing I told her, I was like, you're not alone anymore. I put my hand on her shoulder and I said, you're not alone. And she broke down in tears. And that's when you put someone's hand that now they know, someone knows this pain, this desperation I'm going through. And that's why we get to do this today. This is so awesome. Because nobody's alone anymore, you know?
When you think about it too, in terms of when I came to the rooms and I came to recovery, I couldn't understand how nobody wanted anything. Right? Like, why are you just going to be nice to me? There's got to be an angle. Like, that street mentality was always, it stayed there for a long time until you see people continue to show up, continue to do things, and not ask for anything in return.
And give back what we're so freely given to them. Mm-hmm. And now we get to give back what was so freely given to us and keep the cycle going.
And you see it when you do it for somebody who comes in new. Or somebody who does, they're waiting for, hey, but I'm going to give you this, but I need you to do this for me on the back end. And they don't know how to handle just, a gift.
Yeah. Yep. And at the same token, sometimes you'll be like, hey, this book is on me. Get your ass to this meeting next Thursday. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of accountability. But want to know a really cool example of people giving back? When I was a month and a half out of rehab, this is summer of 18. No, it was actually September because the Halloween came out, that movie in 2018. And my whole group wanted me to go to the movies. And I'm like, dude, I don't do movies. I'm deaf. There's no captioning. There's none of that. They're like, no, we want you to come to I said, did you hear what I did? I'm not going to this movie. So I went to the movie. And we sit down, watching the previews. My heart's coming out of my chest. I mean, I'm shaking. It's PTSD now. And one of the dudes gets up to go to the bathroom, and he comes back. And he sits down, he plugs this device into my cup holder, moves the cord, adjusts the box. It was subtitles.
Wow.
My group called the theater the week before and set up for that box to be ready for me when I got there. I didn't ask them to do this. They didn't have to do this. But that was the first time I recovered, I completely bawled out my tears. And I was like, I think we can do this. And you never forget stuff like that.
No, and it's such a little, when you talk to somebody who doesn't understand it, it's so little, but it's like, oh my God, somebody actually cares.
God, huge. And that's why we do what we do. Someone calls at the desperation, everybody else gave up on them. All right, I'll be right over.
Mm-hmm. And that's what's great about going to programs, going into the prison and talking where people can't have that interaction from the outside.
Yeah.
And it reminds you that one bad decision, just one. I'm right back in that chair.
Right back.
I'm sitting right back in that prison cell. All I have to do is wake up one day and not do what I'm supposed to do.
This is amazing. I was able to speak at a Supermax upstate. And the detective there, a lady, came after me afterwards. She goes, Chris, you're an expert lip reader, right? I said, yeah, I know a thing or two. She goes, we have a cold case file that we haven't been able to solve in a while. Would you come in and read the lips? There's no audio in the video. And I'm like, I really don't want to get involved in the court system. They're like, no, just see if you can see anything and then we'll leave you alone. So I go to the office and I said, don't tell me anything about the case. So they put me in a room and I watched like 7 minutes of footage in an elevator and I was able to get one sentence. I was for sure that one sentence. So I told them the one sentence and they're like, they started crying. They ended up extraditing the dude up from South and charging him.
Wow.
They brought in So For 20 years, I did dope and drank myself because I hated this disability, this impairment, being deaf. But I had no idea, like, it was a superpower. It's our perspective changes. That now, what we always thought we were less than is amazing. Just the way we look at it.
Well, it's like that, you know, I think of the things that I've been through, right? And all the shitty jobs and like the drug jobs, right? Like go be a handyman here, or go pick this up, or a pipe in a factory, a driver. And now, you know, me and my wife just bought a house. And now all those things, all those little things that I didn't know how to do.
I love it.
All those things that I didn't know how to do are like...
They're just happening.
They're just easy. Paint this, pick this up, you know, figure out how to do it. I've already done them all through what I thought was me being a minion and less than and having to do these jobs that I didn't think I was, you know, I thought I was better than.
And you enjoy it now.
And it makes life easier.
And you're doing the next right thing for the next right reason.
Yeah.
And things start adding up. That's awesome, dude. Imagine 2.5 years ago telling Hank, hey, you're going to have a beautiful house. You're going to be married to a beautiful girl with a new car. Okay, have a nice day. Get this freaking kid out of here, you know?
When can I get high?
That's great. When can I get high? That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
So now, so what? Right? Again, it's the little things, and that's when I wake up in the morning, like I'm happy. Okay, I got 2 feet to, and it sounds corny, right?
We woke up.
Yeah, woke up. I'm breathing. I can move my arm. I can move my legs, because there's been so many times overdoses and strokes, and
right.
I should be in a chair somewhere.
Absolutely.
At best.
I should be at the bottom of a Lake Zor right now. And you know what? It's funny when you say get out of bed. I broke my left leg 4 times in blackouts. I have no idea. I have a fake knee. My ankle's fused shut. I have no idea why. But we don't let these things hold us back if we can. This stuff, I've done 2 strongman, 3 powerlifting tournaments, 3 world championships arm wrestling. And now we're training for a triathlon.
Oh, man.
It's like, what the hell is going on?
Can you even swim?
We'll find out. We'll find out. At least I won't have any cinder blocks on me this time. Yeah, so it's amazing. It's amazing what a human can do, but I think it's equally, if not more amazing, what humans don't do. That they're afraid to try something and take a risk.
And the fear is enough to paralyze.
Paralyzed, yep.
Right? When you think about a lot of the things, what's the worst that could happen? Right? You don't want to go get that new job, or you don't want to go to the gym. You don't want to try walking. You don't want to try and get in better shape. You don't want to try and maybe take a chance with a girl or a relationship.
Because what's other people going to say if I fail? You know what I mean? When I walk into the gym, I'm the only one in there.
Yeah.
In my mind, I know everything I want to do, and that's it. We're there for a reason.
And if you try again, is it really failing?
No, it's not.
So all you got to do is not quit.
I'm about to start auditioning, and I'm deaf. And I don't care. I'm not going to stop, because I will stop at nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. And just keep going. That's what you do. I'm not better than anybody. I'm not great at anything I do. I just want it as bad as I want that fixed. Imagine that obsession where people learn to like convert it to the next goal. Who the hell's going to stop that?
No one.
It's impossible.
Chase. Chase.
And health too. Like I often wonder to myself, what is like living clean? If you can get off drugs and alcohol, that is amazing. Amazing. But why stop there? Why let your body go?
Well,
Why let your mind go?
You hear people talk about, you know, they're 5, they're 10 years clean, and they're still just getting by.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what happened?
And sometimes we need to see that. Like if someone got clean time, if someone's got 25 years clean, but they're getting their toes cut off from diabetes because they're overweight, these are choices. Mm-hmm. Right now we have a choice to make, you know? And if someone's in terrible shape, like I was in recovery, we can change. There's some obstacles, but I like that. I like the challenge. There's no bad days anymore. There's challenging days.
Yes.
There's no more bad days, man.
And if you're not in good shape, how can you be of service to others? You talk about being of service, right? Like, how can I be of service to other people?
Yeah.
You know, I can't even get out of bed. I can't walk. If I don't have some sort of financial freedom, or I don't have a little bit of money, how can I drive a car to get to somebody? Or how do I how do I take somebody out to lunch that doesn't have money to take out? So
you don't focus on how you, well, I can't because of this. I will because I'm going to try this, and this.
And I have to
That's a
help
big
people.
difference. Yeah.
Like, if I got what I have, I'm indebted to help other people.
Yeah.
And how can I do that just getting by?
And it's amazing you say that when we think about in the beginning of recovery, when I would write, okay, one of the guys at the rehab, like, write where you want to be in a year. What do you want? And I was like, oh, I want a new Harley. I want a boat. I want all material things. Everything was material. And I look back at it now and I cringe at it, but we're going the right way. Mm-hmm. You know, we learn as we go. And not many people get to stick with it. There's such a small percentage that really take this stuff and run. And that's why if someone keeps going back and out, in and out, in and out, I don't judge them because that was me. That was me for 18 years. Yeah, I'll see you next Thursday. And then, you know what I mean? I'm not showing up.
And you hear about it, and that's, sometimes I have to remind myself of that because you hear people talk the talk, right? Like, I'm just going to try. I'm just going to try to do this.
Yeah.
I never... How many times did you try and get high and not get high? There was no try. Like, when did try? What was a try?
I'm going to try stopping Monday.
Yeah.
I'm going to try. But that was a different thing. You know, I get it, though, the obsession. I think there's healthy obsessions and there's dangerous ones. Mm-hmm. But I think health is something that I love testing. I want to see how far. I know how sick we can get. I know how poor I can get. I know how sad I can get. Let's see how strong we can get. And not just lifting. You know, I was able to get my 500-pound deadlift 4 months ago.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's
Congratulations.
like, thank you. And I couldn't get off my bed and detox. They had to pull me to the bathroom to take my first shower. Mm-hmm. Covered in my own vomit, feces, and urine. And now we get it's choices after it. You know, when we're on the streets, we don't really have much of a choice. No. But when we're in recovery, we have a choice. And that's freaking awesome. And we can use them every day. You know, my man.
I appreciate you, man.
My pleasure. My pleasure, brother. Oh, going for the top roll. I like that.